Okay, so you want to open a car wash, a tunnel, some brushes and blowers, cars rolling through all day while you sit back and watch quarters, or these days, debit swipes pile up. That's the picture in your head. Low labor, simple machine, steady traffic, easy money. Here's the problem. That picture is only barely true, and the part that actually makes car washes one of the most quietly profitable businesses in America has almost nothing to do with the wash itself. The US car wash industry is worth somewhere around $20 billion a year, and it's been growing faster than inflation for years running. That already tells you something. But here's the number that should really catch your attention. A well-located express tunnel car wash can pull in somewhere between $1.5 million and $4 million a year in revenue, with operating margins as high as 35 to 50%. Compare that to a restaurant, where owners fight for single-digit margins, or a retail store lucky to clear 10%. A car wash can be clearing almost half of every dollar that comes through the tunnel as pure profit. So how does spraying soap and water on cars produce margins that would make a software company jealous? That's what this video is going to answer. And the answer is that the wash was never really the product. Let's start with the 4 ways people actually get into this business, because the format you choose changes almost everything about your economics. The first is self-service, the coin-op bays where the customer does the work themselves with a wand and a vacuum. Startup costs run somewhere between $150,000 and $400,000, and net margins land somewhere between 10 and 25%. Low labor, low ceiling. The second is the in-bay automatic, the single car wash tunnel you drive into and sit in a car wash. Startup costs jump to somewhere between $250,000 and $700,000, with margins typically in the 20 to 30% range. The third, and increasingly the dominant model in this industry, is the express tunnel. Cars roll through on a conveyor, get hit with automated equipment, and roll out the other side in 3 to 5 minutes. No hand drying, no interior work. This is where the real capital and the real profit both live, with startup costs anywhere from $2.5 million to $7 million, but EBITDA margins that can run 35 to 50% once the site is mature. The fourth is full service, the model with actual staff hand drying and detailing your car. It commands the highest ticket price per car, but labor eats so much of that premium that margins usually end up thinner than the automated formats, not thicker. In an industry where automation keeps getting cheaper and labor keeps getting more expensive, full service is quietly becoming the format operators are moving away from, not toward. Now here's the detail almost nobody outside the industry understands. Notice how much of that starting number in every format isn't equipment. It's land. On the high end, especially for express tunnels, land alone can run anywhere from $100,000 to over $2 million. Easily the single biggest line item on the entire build. The best car wash sites sit on prime corner lots with heavy traffic counts and easy access in and out. The exact same real estate that gas stations and fast food drive-thrus fight over. And that real estate appreciates completely independently of how many cars actually get washed. Which means from the very first day you open, you're not just running a car wash. You're holding a piece of high-traffic commercial real estate that happens to have a tunnel built on top of it. So how does an operator turn washing cars into 35 to 50% margins when a basic wash itself only costs a couple dollars in water and chemicals to deliver? The answer is that in a mature operation, the wash itself stops being the main product entirely. A basic wash charged at around $15, with direct costs of about $2, produces a gross margin near 87%. A premium wash at $30, with about $3 in direct cost, pushes that closer to 90%. That's before you even touch what actually stabilizes the business. That stabilizer is the membership model, and it has completely rewired this industry over the last decade. Instead of paying per visit, customers pay a flat monthly fee, commonly around $25 to $30 for unlimited washes. In a mature location, memberships can represent 60 to 70% of total revenue, running gross margins above 90%, because most members don't actually come in often enough to make the unlimited plan a bad deal for the owner. Members typically wash 3 to 4 times a month. Someone paying per visit washes once or twice. The math is quietly stacked in the operator's favor the entire time, and churn on these plans commonly sits below 8% a year, meaning once someone signs up, they tend to just keep paying, month after month, whether they use it heavily or barely at all. This is also why hitting somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 active members is treated as the real turning point for a location. Once you cross that number, the wash stops behaving like a pay-per-use service business and starts behaving like a subscription company that happens to have a building attached. And subscription companies get valued completely differently than service businesses do. Then there's the layer most customers never even register as a purchase, the vacuum lounge. Premium vacuum stalls running $2.50 for 5 minutes, air freshener dispensers at $1.25, microfiber towel rentals, tire shine, ceramic spray sealants running up toward $13 a pop. None of this requires meaningful labor. Add-ons like these can boost the average ticket by 25 to 35%, while keeping gross margins above 75%. And operators who successfully upsell 40 to 60% of customers on at least one add-on are running a fundamentally more profitable business than the ones just selling the base wash. Let's talk about what it takes to actually get this thing running, because most new car washes don't break even fast. Typical break-even sits somewhere between 18 months and 3 years after opening, and that entire runway has to be funded before a single dollar of profit comes back to the owner. The biggest early risk isn't the wash equipment failing. It's underestimating how long it takes to build a real membership base in a market where 2 or 3 competitors are fighting over the exact same corner lots. And speaking of competitors, this industry has quietly become one of private equity's favorite acquisition targets in the entire country. In the past few years, major roll-ups have consolidated hundreds of individual locations under single ownership. One deal alone folded 383 separate car wash locations into a single operator. Investment firms have poured capital into regional chains specifically because of the membership revenue model, the real estate underneath every site, and the fact that this business, once it's running well, throws off cash with almost frightening consistency. When institutional money that could invest in literally anything keeps choosing to buy up car washes, that tells you something about how good this business actually is once it's dialed in. For an individual operator without private equity backing, franchising is often the faster path to legitimacy and financing. Other brands offer a proven playbook, established equipment relationships, and marketing systems in exchange for franchise fees typically running $35,000 to $50,000 up front, plus 4 to 6% of ongoing revenue in royalties. It's less independence, but banks and SBA lenders look far more favorably on a franchise applicant with a proven system than a first-time owner building from scratch, which can be the difference between getting funded and not. So after land, equipment, membership, infrastructure, and years of ramping toward break-even, what does this actually pay out? A smaller, single-site operation might only clear $25,000 a year in real profit once everything is accounted for, barely worth the capital tied up in it. But a high-volume express tunnel location, fully built out, with a mature membership base and strong add-on penetration can throw off profits climbing toward $400,000 a year or more, on top of sitting on real estate that's been quietly appreciating the entire time you were washing cars on it. So is it worth it? This is not a business you can walk into with a small check and expect fast returns. You need real capital, often 7 figures once land is included, patience through an 18 to 36 month runway before you're actually profitable, and the discipline to build a membership base in a market where your closest competitor is fighting for the exact same corner. It also demands constant attention to water regulation, chemical compliance, and equipment maintenance that most owners never anticipate before they sign the lease. But for the operators who get the model right, who understand that a car wash isn't really selling a wash, this becomes one of the most resilient, cash-generative small businesses in the country, the kind private equity firms are actively fighting each other to buy. The tunnel was never really the business. It was the machine that got you 30 seconds of contact with a customer, just long enough to sell them a membership, a vacuum, a towel, and a piece of real estate that keeps quietly climbing in value long after their car has already driven away clean.